I'm selling one of my investment properties in probably the worst seller's market we've seen in the last 5 years. Now, why am I selling this property? Because it's actually been a great investment property. I bought the property a few years ago, I renovated the home, I've added a secondary dwelling, and it's cash flowing really well. So in this video, we're gonna break down why I'm selling the property and tell you the story behind it. So this is the Bray Park story, how I turned one property into two incomes in a short period of time, getting the property to cash flow with the view to hold this for 7 to 10 years. And if you're a long-time follower of the channel, this was a proposed series called the Bray Park Bomb in 2024, which actually never came to fruition. Emily and I, my late wife, who unfortunately passed from cancer in 2024 when we bought this property, had been doing a lot of renovation series up until that point on the YouTube channel. So if you're a long-time follower, you will have known about the Bray Park story in some detail, but I'm going to show you the history and the timeline of the property, break down the numbers for you, and we'll talk through why I'm selling as well. So this is me and my beautiful late wife, Emily. This was in the middle of 2024, so roughly around April, May 2024 from memory. And we bought this property for $640,000. It was a deceased estate and it was going to auction, and the reserve from memory was around 600 grand. And the max price I was willing to pay as a professional buyer's agent and looking to do a renovation was $650,000. So we were competing with a lot of bidders at the auction, but the main bidder who competed with us on price was a Sydney buyer. But Emily and I were looking for another project. We wanted to create content for the YouTube channel and obviously buy a good quality investment. And this property ticked all the boxes. It was brick veneer, it had tiled roof, it had space on this left-hand side where you see this garage that we could add a granny flat out the back. And I learned a lot on this project. I hadn't actually gone through and built a granny flat. Now I've done two, this property and another one, which you may have seen recently on the channel. And so this was the start of the story. 640K. Purchased at auction. Emily and I were in attendance with our little baby boy at the time, Eli, who'd just been born in December 23. And we won and secured the property and started that renovation process. And boy, oh boy, was this girl a renovator. She certainly needed some work. Now this kitchen had some stick-on backsplash tiles, an oven that looks like it's from the 70s. The cupboards were falling apart. The sink was, barely serviceable. And we ended up leaving the bars on the windows, which has been mixed reviews. I didn't really think it was the biggest issue. I thought they were great for security and they're old school, but some people hate the bars on the windows still. So this is what it looked like in terms of the kitchen, and this is what it looks like now. So we did a whole new IKEA kitchen with a bullnose drawers where you don't need to put handles on. I've learned from experience in doing kitchens and renovations that bullnose is much better than having to add handles after the fact, where you've got to drill every single handle on and they can come off and they can come, they come loose. So we put in a brand new IKEA kitchen. This cost about $30,000 with installation, give or take. It was not a cheap job, the kitchen. And you might think 30 grand, well, by the time you upgrade the plumbing, you put in new appliances, you get tiling, you actually have the kitchen installed and the materials for the kitchen, you can run that bill up pretty quickly, even with just an IKEA kitchen. So we spent a good chunk of the budget on the kitchen here. Could have saved some money, but again, Emily was diagnosed with cancer in, unfortunately, December 23, and I would have done a lot more of the work on these renos myself. I did do some of the painting. So the painting that you see here was largely me as a DIY renovator. Some people didn't like my paint job, but again, don't let other people's opinions stop you, honestly. Do the best job you can. And at that time in 2024, we were still in the renovation space. I was still hands-on in the renovation space, and a lot's changed the last few years. But that's what it looks like after in terms of the kitchen layout. And this was the living room. Now this is an ugly, ugly duckling here. You can see the carpets are gone, like they've actually worn through in the floor here. There was a smashed window off to the side, so we had to do a whole new pane of glass, which is like $500-600. That was expensive. This full room honestly needed a massive refresh. So fixing the window, yes, the floors, we painted all the walls and the ceilings, all the lights and fans needed upgrading, the aircon needed a full service and clean. Everything you see in this image needed to change, and this is what it looks like now. So we kept two of those little downlights, replaced the other one there, new fan as well, and obviously refloored the entire house. This is laminate flooring. Again, I did the painting, but everything else was done by trades in this case. So it wasn't as cheap as a reno as I'd done in the past, where I did everything DIY. But again, with Emily being diagnosed with cancer, we were looking for something to sink our teeth into as well, for the business and for the channel, and to create more money and to have a good long-term investment. And so that's exactly what the cosmetic renovation did. And I'm not one of those buyer's agents that, earned $1 million in their first year at work. I was an accountant by trade when I started in 2016 as an accountant. And I've been running the buyer's agency 5.5 years now. And so this time I've been running the buyer's agency coming on to 4 years. And so it was in that transition space of getting out of doing hands-on work. I did enjoy it, but this was actually the last reno I ever did. Same thing in the bedroom. There's a massive leak in the ceiling, so we had the roof repaired. We had to remove all this wallpaper. I had some guy come in here and remove all the wallpaper and the carpets, obviously, and bang, that is the finished product of the room. So got rid of the old aircon, patched the walls, new carpets, new ceiling fans, new lighting, roller blinds. It made a massive difference. That before and after, to me, is probably one of the biggest changes. And a lot of work went into this. I know it might seem simple, and people tend to not like property investors and people who do this kind of hard work to try and create wealth, but it's been the way I've done it on every single property. Every property I've bought, I've renovated and added value and looked for upside potential. Now let's talk about the granny flat. So this is what we added to the back of the garage. So the original thought process was there was a studio at the back of the house here, you can see. And this had to have a whole new entire roof. It had to be fully reframed. There was termite damage in this area. We put a termite barrier around the house and around the granny flat, new hot water system, a single garage for the granny flat and a single garage for the house, fencing down the side. So this ended up being a lot more of a headache than I had initially anticipated. In hindsight, if I'd bought a clean site, or just knocked down the complete structure and built from scratch, it would have been easier. But in 2024, I was building the experience in doing my own granny flats. I thought that I was going to be a bit more clever by renovating a granny flat in the pre-existing space rather than building a granny flat on a vacant block or a vacant bit of land. And I turned out to be very wrong there. And you'll see that in the numbers very soon. This was one of my biggest mistakes actually in my portfolio as far as overspending on the granny flat. Now, even though I overspent, my wife unfortunately was sick with cancer. I didn't have the ability to keep an eye on the project. We didn't do a fixed price contract. In my opinion, the builder overcharged about $50,000. Even with all of that, the granny flat turned out really well. So it was an open studio with a kitchen, wardrobe and bathroom. And I think the bathroom's the most impressive part. It's got room for a laundry off to the right here, a big shower, toilet, nice 900 ml basin and mirror. And so it ended up renting really well. So it rents close to $400 a week right now. And I think the granny flat really turned out well, even though it was a poor experience on my side as the owner and the manager of this project. And I learned so much about what not to do in the future. And I've now finished another granny flat project, which went 1,000 times better as far as the actual process and cost. So let's pull apart the numbers together. So I paid $640,000 for the property in early 2024. With some DIY renos, it was about $80K reno cost. If you add probably my sweat equity, let's say my time was worth 20 grand, you could make that $100K. The granny flat cost $200,000, which in my opinion was an absolute ripoff. Unfortunately, with Emily being sick and unwell, I wasn't able to visit site very frequently. It wasn't a fixed price contract. We had headaches, council, dealing with builders on the site for certification for certain things, leaks and fixes. So we had to get the builder out multiple times. We had to get repairs. We had overruns. So that's how it blew out to 200 grand. And in my opinion, it should have been more like 150 grand in reality as far as the product there. But anyway, it did cost me 200K. And that is what it is. So the total project at 80K reno and 200K granny flat cost was $920 all in. Now, this is where it's interesting because it still turned out really well as far as the rent on the property. So the house currently rents for $580 per week and the granny flat rents for $395 per week on the current leases. And so that equates to $975 per week for a $920K spend on my side. And the annual rent, that means the annual rent is $50,700 or a gross yield on cost of 5.51%. Now, Bray Park is on the north side of Brisbane. It's located in Moreton Bay Council and it's in a prime position along the train line. So this property is at 2 Kambari Street in Bray Park. to Kumbari. I'll put the address up or I'll put it in the description because this property is actually for sale right now. You can probably find a link in the comments or the description if you want to see the sales listing. I will be selling this property genuinely, and I'll tell you the reasons in a moment. But the property is well located in Moreton Bay, and the reason I bought it was to hold it for 7 to 10 years. I actually never planned 2024, 2025, 2026 to be doing a video talking about selling a property in the worst timing and the worst market in Brisbane at the moment. So why on earth am I selling? Let's break it down in a bit more detail. And that is the question. Oh, there's a very cranky thumbnail, Luke, there. Why on earth am I selling? You got to ask yourself the question. Let's skip past that. So the strategy worked. I bought the property for 640 grand in 2024. I renovated to add value. I added a granny flat. I pulled out the equity, getting good bank valuations of the property at around $1 million. And I created 2 incomes in the process. Now I'm recycling that equity and moving that capital into commercial property. I'm moving from residential into commercial. About 6 months ago, I broke down a video about Purpose Property, the business, buying a premises, which is a new industrial estate in Shayla Park on the south side of Brisbane. So I'm recycling some of these funds from this sale into that commercial property. I've also, you can probably tell that I'm in a new location now as well. And I've bought a new family home on the south side of Brisbane for me and my 2 beautiful boys, Asa and Eli. So if you're a long-term follower of the channel, you know that, unfortunately the story goes that Emily did pass from cancer in December 2024. And that flipped my world upside down. We spent another year at Greenslopes and I've moved south now, buying a new house to be with my 2 sons. So I'm moving my money into commercial deals and I've bought another place, and so I need to sell out. I don't have an infinite money glitch. I'm not one of those buyer's agents that seems to have infinite money out there. And so I do need to rejig my assets. And so I'm selling this relatively this great asset. I think Bray Park's going to do really well in the next 5 to 7 years, and it's got dual incomes. And I'm going to sell it. It's just going to have to be part of the movement of assets. And I think I've got to look at why. Like, why would I let my ego hold on to the property? So say the property was going to sell for over the $1 million mark in the market before the May budget changes. And I might sell it in the 900s now, post the May budget changes. Why would I let my ego hold on to 50 or 100 grand of what could have been when I'm making so many important decisions for my family? I'm making important decisions for my future in the commercial investment space. And so we've got the commercial property in the next 6 months for the business, but I'm also buying a couple $1 million worth of commercial property in New South Wales, where there is multiple incomes and multiple tenants, and that's even higher yield on a net basis than this residential property. And so I need a lot more capital to do a commercial deal. You need a lot more cash. Hence another reason, that's one of the major reasons to be selling out of this residential cash cow to move into a commercial cash cow from that point of view. And I guess that begs the question, would I buy this property again? Would I do it all again if I knew what I know now? And the answer is yes. We're actually helping lots of clients execute on granny flat strategies, or in super funds, or in personal names or company structures, buy multiple income properties in the residential space to build the asset base. It's a strategic location, Bray Park. So it's that 25 Ks north of Brisbane CBD on the train line in Moreton Bay in an established area. It's got the 2 income streams at close to $1,000 per week. Actually, market rent would probably be just over $1,000 per week. There's been value created through this process of doing it myself. I mean, look at the beautiful kitchen and flooring. I'm actually impressed by the finished product to what it used to look like. So there's been value created through the renovation, obviously less so through the granny flat. Probably lost a little bit of money there as well, given the slight blowout with the builder there, 25% blowout in my opinion. But it's the perfect step for people wanting to continue to grow in the residential space, to buy a dual income straight away, or if you've got the willpower and the know-how to buy a property like I did, to renovate it, and then to build a granny flat. Now, from my experience, I wouldn't be suggesting you build it in a pre-existing space, but now it's done, it rents really well. And the tenant has their own garage, and they have their own unit, and they have their own fencing and their own backyard, as you saw in the earlier photos. So, with clients, we wouldn't do a pre-existing space like I did here, but this is, people learn from my mistakes and my lessons. But as far as it being a solid investment for holding over the next 5 to 7 years and covering the repayments on itself, these deals work really well. Whether you buy one pre-existing or you create your own house and granny flat, they can be a great strategy to take the stress out of the cash flow of building a property portfolio. So we've done a little bit of a breakdown. My team's put this together. So would this property suit you? If it fits your strategy is always the answer. So say it's $1 million, give or take, for the sale, probably somewhere in the 900s now in the May budget. We're probably going to be selling it this weekend is the reality. So let's say you get an investment loan, $675K. That's the loan amount you'd need for positive cash flow. So you're looking at $975 per week rent, $50,700 per annum in terms of income, and it's got that dual income potential. It's already fully rented at that rate. So you potentially positive cash flow if your loan is $675 in that example. Now it depends on, this assumes a 6% interest rate and 20% of the property's costs go to running costs. It excludes tax and acquisition costs. So if you're all in around $990 and your loan was $675, this property would be paying for itself. And you can see that the granny flat is new. So it's got new tiles, new bathroom, new kitchen. So your maintenance and your headaches are ideally going to be lower over the 5 to 10, 15-year hold period as well. So this is where dual income properties really had their place in someone's portfolio. If you can get around 5% plus, 6% plus gross yield, they're going to pay for themselves in the major capital cities. Now, some buyers agents want to chase 7% or 8% gross yields, but they're going to be in the regional towns, in my opinion. In Bray Park, which is in Moreton Bay, on that north side of Brisbane, along the train line, in a city that's going to grow significantly over the next 5 years with the Olympics and the infrastructure coming through, these properties are going to be more at that 5.5% to 6% gross yield with the granny flat typically. And positive cash flow depending on the loan balance and the interest rate you've got. So I never created that renovation series, unfortunately, given the way things have played out in Emily and my journey, but that was the final result of the Bray Park bomb. That was the renovation, that was the granny flat, that was the finished product, and this is why I'm selling. Like I said, selling it in a very tough market, but that's okay. I'm willing to take the haircut and let my ego not rule things and live better for my children and live better for my future investing decisions in the commercial space. And so the plans change. And this is why I'm sharing this story with you, because the last 5-6 years, if you've been following any of my videos, I've always wanted to share reality. I'm not a buyer's agent who sells pipe dreams. I'm just Luke, who wants to tell you my story and tell you how we help everyday Australians. If you want help buying in Queensland or Victoria, head over to purposeproperty.com.au, and somewhere down below there'll be a link to the sales listing if you want to see. I think it's probably going to sell somewhere in the 900s, but I'll keep you posted. We will see. And give this video a click here, because YouTube reckons this one's an interesting one to watch next. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.